Hello, biology friends. This is an introduction to water. This should be a really short little podcast talking about the nature of water and why water is such an important focus when we talk about chemistry in biology. Okay. Um, okay. Water, as we already know, is H2O, okay, two hydrogen atoms, and they are covalently bound, sharing electrons to one oxygen atom. So these green uh, uh, circles are hydrogens, and the blue is an oxygen, and they are sharing electrons. So these are the covalent bonds, okay? Really strong, stable bonds, okay? Now, water is very important to life on Earth, unique properties that make it essential for life, and understanding these unique properties is the point of this little podcast, or ultimately this little podcast. Life as we know it couldn't exist without water. You know that 75% of Earth's surface is covered with water. Water is the most abundant compound in nearly all living things. Human, on average, I think is somewhere around 62% water, maybe a little higher, a little lower, depending on age, gender, things like that. So what is it about water that makes it so special then? Why water? It all begins with that oxygen atom that's within the water molecule. Oxygen is what we call electronegative. It's important you understand that word and that you associate it with the oxygen atom. Okay? Oxygen, electronegative. What does it mean? It means that oxygen loves electrons, and when it is sharing them in a covalent bond, it will not share them equally. It will share them. It won't steal them and run away and become an ion, a charged particle. It will share them. But like in this picture with the little old lady, oxygen is pulling on those electrons, and it's going to hold them closer to itself, and it's not going to let hydrogen, the little old lady, keep them very much of the time. They're going to spend more of their time around oxygen. So what that results in is electrons that ought to be shared equally between hydrogen and oxygen end up spending more of their time near the oxygen end of this water molecule. And that means the oxygen end gets a slight partial, please note, partial negative charge. Negative charge. It's not total. It's not an ion. It's just a slight negative charge because the electrons are over here more of the time. On this end, because the hydrogens have kind of sort of lost their electrons a lot of the time to hanging around with oxygen, these guys get a sort of partial positive. So the hydrogen ends are partial positive charges. Okay? So what that means is the end result is that the two ends of a water molecule are different. The oxygen end has got a slight negative. The hydrogen end has got a slight positive charge. Okay? So oxygen has slight negative, hydrogen slight positive, and because they have two opposite ends, water is said to be polar. Just like a magnet has a north and a south pole, and they're different, water has a positive and negative pole. So polarity is when a molecule has one end that is different from another. So please associate polarity with the whole water molecule. Polarity happens because that atom right there, oxygen, is electronegative. Okay? So that's just another picture showing a weak negative charge at the oxygen end and weak positive charges at the hydrogen end. Now, why does polarity matter then? That's what really is going to give water all of its unique properties that make life on Earth possible. What is it about polarity? Okay. As I've already said, polarity causes a water molecule to act like a little magnet. Okay. The negative end, that oxygen end, is going to be attracted to positive things. The positive end will be attractive to negative things. Okay? That property, that little magnet nature of water, is the quality of water that causes all the other important properties of water to exist. And there's a lot of important properties to water. Okay? Water molecules are actually attracted to each other due to their polarity. Just like if you had a bunch of magnets in a box and you shook it up and then opened the box, all the magnets would cluster together. Water is exactly that way. The weak bonds created between the oppositely charged regions are what hold the molecules kind of loosely together. These weak bonds are called hydrogen bonds. Okay? If you look in this picture right here, here is a water molecule right there. Here is another one. And here is a third water molecule. Now, if you look, here is the little positive hydrogen. Here is the little negative at this oxygen, and that positive and negative have a really weak little attraction. It is nowhere near as strong as this covalent bond here or here that's holding the molecule itself together. But it's better than nothing. It's stronger than nothing. And so when you are dropping your drops on the penny, and the water on top of the penny just bubbled up, it was doing that because all the water molecules are clinging to each other. And eventually you just added so much water that the weight of the water outweighed the attraction of these little tiny hydrogen bonds for each other. Okay? So it is these hydrogen bonds between water molecules that causes water to act in really particular ways that are super important to life on Earth. Okay? So that's that. That's all for right now. We will talk about properties of water either in class or in the next podcast, depending on how things go. All right? Thanks for watching. See you next time.